No, I'm not lucky, I'm blessed. Yes, clap for the heavyweight champ, me. But I couldn't do it all alone.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the I'm Not Lucky, I'm Blessed podcast, the show where we celebrate young entrepreneurs and their achievements, and then we motivate up-and-coming entrepreneurs how to make profit using their passion. And as usual, I'm your host, Lucky the Most. Enjoy the show. So this is episode number 67, and as usual, I have a special guest in the building, an amazing friend of mine. She's the CEO and founder of Fit4life movement. She's an author of an amazing book called Focus on the Five. She's a fitness coach, a wellness influencer, motivational speaker, former ballerina. She's everything, guys. Make some noise for the one and only Miss Jade, aka Fit4life. Jade, how you doing?
I am great. Glad to be here. Absolutely.
So, where do I start from? First, introducing you was a lot, because you have so much you have so much under you that I don't even know how you do it. But how is this possible, Jade? How did you get all this? You were once a ballerina, you're a fitness coach, you're a wellness influencer, you're everything. How is that possible?
I really believe I was purposed to do this work. I never had the desire to be in wellness. I mean, at the time, that wasn't even a thing. I specifically remember being in college, and I noticed this building. I was like, what building? What do they teach over there? And they said exercise science. And I said, are you kidding me that people waste their money on exercise, your parents' money?
Yeah.
Because it wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
At that time, the mindset was that's what you do on your own time. You don't go to school for that.
Gotcha.
And I guess I remember that because now I'm in this huge industry. So things are always changing, right?
Yeah.
But because I didn't start with my mindset there, I kind of evolved. So I was a track runner.
Wow.
And then from being a track runner, I got into ballet. I always wanted to be a ballerina. But at that time, I'm a little country girl from Raleigh, North Carolina. My mom didn't see that.
Gotcha.
I remember looking in the phone book for ballet studios. She's like, we can't afford that. And it wasn't her interest, and she wasn't connected to that. So I started dancing later in life. Typically, you start as a little girl, but the truth is, for most girls of color, they typically start a little later. It's way better now. They're starting young. So I was a teenager when I started dancing. So that evolution of ballet is really what has given me my discipline. So a lot of people think, oh, you must be like in the military. No, it's my ballet background. But before ballet, because I didn't have access to do it, I ran track. So I was always athletic, but I didn't know really what that was. I just like to run track. You know what I mean? I didn't put it all together.
You've always been an active person,
right. I was active.
You were active. Even the first day I saw you, I was like, she has a whole different kind of energy.
Thank you.
You were ready to go, and that's why I think the name Fit4life actually fits you, because you're fit all around. You get
Thank you. Thank you. That's important to me. Thank you.
And that's what's gonna lead to my next question. How did you come up with the name Fit4life? What does that mean to you?
You know what? To me, it's a mindset.
Gotcha.
Being fit for life. It's not about actually, it's just the way we think.
Yeah.
It's something that goes throughout your lifetime. So whether you're 60 years old, you understand it's a mindset to be fit for life. But, no matter when you kind of jump on this wellness wagon, it's beneficial to you. So yeah, it's a mindset.
I like that. I came across something on your website that said, it's more about sustainability, goals that you can sustain for a life.
Yes.
For a lifetime. It's not about just something, I want to look like this right now.
Right.
No, it's about, doing things that will last you for the long run.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I would say for me, I'm glad in some ways that fitness is a trend. And what I mean by that, I don't personally look at it as a trend.
Gotcha.
But you see everybody on social media. It's a trend.
It's a trend, yeah.
And they're not working out. They just put on the outfit to take pictures.
Yeah, take pictures.
pictures.
Yeah.
But what I hope in that process is that they realize, this is really good for me.
Gotcha.
So let it start for them as a trend and then hopefully become a lifestyle. You know what I mean? So I try to be very thoughtful about that. Because at this point, It's something that everybody does, or they portray to do it.
Yeah.
Right.
So fitness is a lifestyle for you.
It is a lifestyle. It's all about actions, attitudes,
Yeah.
and behaviors. And that's what gives you sustainability.
Actions,
Attitudes, and behaviors. Yes.
I like that.
Healthy action, attitudes, and behaviors.
Healthy actions.
Yeah.
Healthy attitude.
Yep.
And healthy behaviors.
And healthy behaviors. Because if not, even if you lose all the weight, you're going to be back at that same point. And that's why I'm totally against diets. You will lose weight on a diet, right?
Yeah.
But you didn't learn how to fuel your body the right way. Gotcha. You didn't learn how to make moving consistently and how to move the right way. So you get to that point, okay, I'm where I want to be, but you can't sustain that.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
That's the difference. I feel you. And for me, like, what has helped me, in the fitness world was never a diet. It was more like, yes, this has to be a lifestyle. And how do you make this a lifestyle?
Right.
You have to be, some sort of flexible with your eating too. You
Absolutely.
get it, right? You just
Balance.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
you just can't cut away this from your diet and say, I want to be like this. Or let's say maybe you're a star, or, you have a movie to act, and they say, okay, you have 30 days to get in shape for that role.
Yes.
And that's why we see these actors after that. Some of them go back to...
Absolutely. And that was just for the role. That's a job. And sometimes we forget about that. Or if we see a celebrity, realize the reason why they stay in shape, they have not just us, the trainer, they have the dietitian, they have like so many different things. Yeah. But thankfully things are less expensive now. So regular folks now have a lot of different services, but you have to look at what's behind the story of that person versus just aspiring to be, what is it? Tiana Taylor, when she came out with Faded, I mean, everybody I want to be like that.
If she literally brought out something that said, this is what I did to be this, everybody would buy it.
That's correct.
Everybody would say, oh, I want to buy that. I want to look like that. But like, she put in a lot of sacrifice to look that way. But that's not how she looks kind of like every day. You get it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
On an everyday scale, she might look less leaner than that.
Right.
But just for that role, she had to get to that.
Yeah. And she's definitely lean.
Yeah.
But everybody's body is different.
Gotcha.
You have to think about your age. Yeah. I had some... Tiana Taylor was in her 20s for sure, right, when she did Faded. Yeah. I have people that are way over that, 30 years more than that. You're talking about you want to be like... So you got to just keep it in context. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah. And it's okay to aspire for those things, but make it make sense for where you are in your life, what's something that you can do. And let's say we can get you there, but it's sacrificing that. And the truth is, for most people, that's not something they can do on a regular basis. And for me... It's all about having, as you said, that happy balance. Yeah. And definitely when it comes to what you're eating. For me, it's not worth it to go to a level beyond something that is livable, comfortable. I don't want to be hungry all day long. Then I'm going to have a bad attitude. Yeah. That's not what it's about. You know what I mean? So it's different if you're in some sort of fitness competition. That's part of the job. Yeah. And that is for a certain amount of time. So I always say, let your routine match your lifestyle. Because if it's not, then it's not going to work. Yeah. Right. Oh, I'm going to work out 6 days a week. You can barely get to work. Just be consistent and do what you're doing well. And most people, that's why they need us. Yeah. It's a level of expertise. Yeah. People stay at the gym all day long and they look the same. The same. It's what you do. So that is really what you're paying for, to learn the tools. Yeah.
Well, have you ever faced a situation where, as a trainer, your clients, they tell you, Jade, I wish I could walk out like you. I wish I could spend the time like you. Like, I've been in there and I've told them, this is my job. I can spend 24 hours in here and I wouldn't mind. But be honest with yourself. Can you spend that hours? Right. No, you can't. Right. The moment you set that goal and say, I want to spend 2 hours in the gym, that's how you start to feel already. Right. Because you your body your mind won't let you stay in that. The gym is not like your sweet spot, your comfort zone. Right. But to us, working out is the comfort zone. We can stay here the whole day, like exercising, which we're not saying is good, but we can do all that. But
I know what you're saying.
There are clients that, want to be like, hey, Jade, I want to look this way. I want to, how do you handle clients like that?
Well, I think usually what happens again when people say they want something, we really go over, are you willing to put in what it takes?
Yeah.
And I think people kind of figure out that there needs to be a balance in that, because again, for where you want to go, what it requires, once we go over what it requires, you're like, oh, let me readjust that.
Readjust that goal.
Or listen, there's certain things that you're going to have to eliminate, and you're going to continue to eliminate for that high level. So first learn to be happy in your skin for yourself, and find a happy medium between just what your doctor is saying is a healthy weight for you and what you feel comfortable with as well. So things to think about, right? How much sacrifice do you want? So we want you to be healthy, but we also want you to feel good about what you're developing as well. But you're right. It's easy for people to look at someone else and say this or that, because people often say, well, Jay, how did you get like that? They don't understand this is years. This is what I like. This is years. So yeah, and that takes time to do that, right? And also, I would say to people who are new, kind of get into fitness, the gym or any place, I'm really glad to say that it's not about being in the gym anymore. That was a bright spot from COVID. Before, if you were in the gym, that was it.
That was it, yeah.
But now people get, I could be anywhere and make it work, right?
Yeah.
Even though I think everybody prefers to have options.
Yeah.
If I want to go to the gym, I can. If I want to go home, outside, that's where it should be, right? But sometimes life is what it is, But with all that being said, your workout shouldn't be the base of your life. Obviously, me and you are going to put more into it because that's the base of our work, as anybody with the base of their work. But don't live in the gym. Don't live in your workout. It is meant to be a management tool to help you manage life. If you're better, you can do your work better and enjoy. But, I'm not going out with my friends because, you know what I mean? Like some people like live in the gym and they're such on this journey. They're not social anymore. They're not going out. They're afraid to eat with their friends because they're on this tight, rigid, something that they really can't keep. That's not what wellness, fitness is about.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. I like where this conversation is going. Okay, so usually before I start a conversation, I love to ask this question. You think you're lucky or you're blessed?
The reason why I chose to do this show with you is because of the name. Because in your post, unless somehow I mistakenly don't get it, that you are a believer in Christ. Because for you to say, I'm blessed, not lucky.
I'm not lucky.
Thank you. You acknowledge that. And I knew you got that. So I know I'm blessed. So anything and everything in my life, it's not about, I'm smart or I'm this. God's grace and mercy. I'm a little country girl. So if I didn't get anything else out of my upbringing, my parents did a good job of that.
Fact.
Yeah.
Shout out to our parents.
That's right.
That's the one thing I'm always grateful for, no matter how, things were, but they still, brought us up in the right way. And then, in the house of God, they put us on that track, and it's left for us to, put the next generation.
Absolutely. It's on you. Yeah. So you can go either way. They planted a seed. Now it's on you. And that's the way it should be. You do the best that you can with your children. And then it's up to them. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, so I have so many segments for us based on who you are. But now this segment, I want us to go into the book.
Okay.
Focus on the 5.
Yeah.
What is the book about? Focus on the 5.
So, working with people, my experience, I recognize that it's the bigger picture we're missing. That holistic piece. Holistic means I look at a person's whole self. So it's spirit, thought, fuel, fitness, and relaxation. Spirit, I think we get that. And also it connects to just yourself internally. It's not just about what we look like and feel like on the outside, but taking a deeper dive inside, no matter where you are on that spiritual kind of, modality of that. Fuel, we know what that is. Food is fuel. We understand fitness. Relaxation is about self-care. Taking time for you. It could be I'm getting my nails done, I'm going to the movies, I'm in a healthy relationship, I'm doing absolutely nothing today. That is what it's about. So when you're out of balance, and we're normal. We're not going to always, I got this going.
Yeah.
But what's going to happen over time, it starts to spill over into the other thing. In life, you're going to have stress. That's normal.
Yeah.
But when you're not taking time for yourself, it'll go from normal levels of stress. Now I'm depressed. Now I got these other issues, if that makes sense to you. So again, wellness, fitness helps you manage life. So I really learned that those 5 critical elements, that's what I coined, focus on the 5. And literally God gave me every piece of that. I remember sitting down, being at home in North Carolina, starting to write it out. This is when I was the health and wellness director for the YMCA in Connecticut. Oh, wow. So you're right. I've done a lot of different. A lot of people don't know that.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know that. They don't have conversations with me. Yeah. But I get it, right? I've come to recognize when you're working out in the gym, there is a certain air, right? Yeah. Especially if you're like really into fitness. And it's not always, I try to be very welcoming. Hey, but you also get into the space that you're like, let me leave them alone and then work out. Yeah. But it's a lot to people in layers that you don't know. But yeah, I was the wellness director and also the dance director for the YMCA in Connecticut. And from that position, it led me to Boston. Yeah. Wow. And I thought I was coming to Boston to take another position at the Y, which I did for a short time. But really, God had me on a whole nother journey.
Gotcha.
Right. So.
Let's talk some more about Jade, okay?
Huh?
Let's talk some more about you, you know, like what are these layers to you that we still don't know? Tell us a little more about yourself, Jade, like, you know.
So interesting. This is a comfortable space. Yeah. What I do well is speak. I love that. I was a radio personality, so this is comfortable for me. Yes, it's
how is like why are you this blessed? Like literally you've done a lot.
I've done a lot. Jeez. I have. So when I was in college, I was a radio personality for 90.1 WNAA, and then I worked for a different little station, and I worked for like record labels, and I promoted stuff. Yeah. That's when I learned then. I didn't know what it was. I was like, people will follow me. But I didn't know, Jade, you have leadership skills. That's what it was. So even then, when I was working for the record labels, Arista Records, Hidden Beach, you're familiar with Jill Scott. So in other words, what I did was when these different artists came to the local area, I would help promote them, and I covered the college division. Wow. And so I had to have people. The street team was a big thing back in the day, and promoting artists, putting up posters and stuff like that. And so I would get people to join me to do that. Yeah. And I was doing that for working, at the radio station. So doing all of that kind of stuff, then it just started to lead me to the next thing.
What was the next thing?
So radio changed, music changed. So, people work for themselves. They're independent. Like, that whole scope thing. But I wanted to be like, I want to be in the music business. You know how that goes. Yeah. But on the business side. But during that same time, during that transition, I was dancing. So I went to North Carolina A&T State University, a historically black college, for communications. But I love dance. They didn't have a dance program. Wow. So just like a couple miles away, I went to the University of Carolina at Greensboro. They have a renowned dance program, modern dance program. So I minored. I was able to do a consortium and go to both to get my minor there and my major there. Wow. So then I was able to start dancing. Again, like I said, I was a teenager when I really started dancing. And in that process, I met a lady named Natalia. She danced in Russia. She was originally from Armenia, and she had a dance program. So I was dancing at the university, dancing for her. Yeah. It's funny, how did she come to America? She met her husband when she was dancing at the professional company in Russia, and I started dancing for her. So I was like dancing, radio person. I was like, but I was like in college, so I had like plenty of time, if that made sense.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
And I started to develop that up, and she really helped my life when it comes to dance and developing me up. And so I danced, got an opportunity to travel, went to Armenia to dance. Wow. So once I graduated, I stayed in North Carolina, went back and got my grad degree in industrial technology. Don't ask me what that's about. I really want to do business, but they didn't have it.
Oh.
So I said, let me do something that connects to communications and industrial technology, which that's fancy. Really, that's about websites and stuff like that. That's when it was like something new before everybody had a website. I did that. By the time I had finished, I had danced, and she said to me, I was in North Carolina. If you're a dancer, you're either in New York or either you're in California. That's the two places. But coming from North Carolina, when people, that would have been a jump, and it was very expensive. But being a dancer is a very short-lived life. So when people retire, a lot of them go to Connecticut and they live. So let's try Connecticut and then I had a friend that was in Connecticut. So I moved to Connecticut. It was kind of part of the plan. It all kind of worked out. Yeah. And then I was there the next day. I was dancing for a ballet company, Albano Ballet. So it's like the ballet company I danced for in North Carolina really developed me. Yeah. Classical ballet, taught me the love of it, from being this hip hop girl to what it is. And then that discipline I got from, his name was Mr. A. Very cutthroat. But all of it made me who I am in regards to even connecting over to my fitness and what I do. So yeah, that's like a lot.
That's a lot.
It's a lot, but all of these things were like going on. That's
why the name Jade Fit4life, I think, fits you, because you're well-rounded. You get me, right? You're not just fit. I've seen people that bear names, and when you look at it, they just but you only have one aspect of it. But when you say Fit4life, I feel like you've touched almost every little bit of everything, and putting all that together just makes you Jade.
Thank you.
Yeah. So you said something about the dance you said it twice, how dancing, disciplined you.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a very powerful statement, and the story behind it too is powerful. You started dancing at an age where, it's like impossible to.
Yeah, as a ballet, you won't matriculate. Usually, you start when you were younger.
Yep.
And again, I'm so glad that is different for little brown girls today. Yeah. That they get an opportunity to dance earlier, but And also, I was in the South. There were dance programs, but again, little kids that look like me and having the money to do it, and parents to kind of make those connections, that wasn't really happening. So you're right. It was hard. I used to cry. Whether I was at the university or even in Connecticut, I would cry at the end because it was tough. And I would say, at the university, it wasn't that it was so tough in regards to the professor or teacher that was teaching, even though it was difficult. Yeah. Mr. A that's a reality show in itself. And so anybody else that's ever been underneath them, they were crying too at different moments for sure. Yeah. But that cry was about, oh my gosh. But through that, God used that as a lesson for me. You know what I mean? Yeah. So none of those spaces were comfortable spaces. Dance didn't come easy for me, and I do believe that was on purpose. When it comes to ballet, the reason I wanted to get into ballet, naturally, I was a good dancer. Like at hip hop, I was I was good at that. But that's different when it comes to ballet because there's a technique piece, and a lot of times, kids of color, we don't realize that. We don't get the proper foundation. You try to go to college for dance. First of all, you have to audition. Yeah. And they make you audition. You have to choose. You have to do ballet. I think you have to do modern. And they may give you an option for one other thing you enjoy. Let's say your strength is hip hop. You're going to fail at the other two because you don't have that discipline. Yeah. And you don't realize that who was teaching you, they really didn't have a good firm foundation. They just gave you kind of some watery stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But all of that being said, it took me to eventually teaching dance.
Are you serious?
Because Mr. A, who's a white guy, he said to me, because I always said, I don't like, teaching kids. I don't want to teach kids. I did teach on the collegiate level, like a dance team. That was cool, right? But I said, I don't want to teach little kids. He said, you need to teach kids that look like you need to do that. And
that's huge.
I did that.
Yep.
at his school, and I was like, oh, I like this.
You like this? Yeah.
I like this. And I could connect with kids with dance. Yeah. I don't know about any other level, but when it came to dance, I could connect with kids. And what people don't realize, the reason people call me Miss Jade, or what that Miss Jade is about. Yeah. I'm from the South, and you call everybody Miss. So if you're a little kid, Miss Brown,
just
Miss, it's just Miss, whether you're a child or adult.
Yeah.
It's not me being extra. But what actually happened when I was in Connecticut at the Y, I was running a dance program, but I was also the director of wellness. So the same kids I taught the parents in exercise classes. Oh. So it is typical, or just tradition, period, in dance. Well, when we're talking about kids and dance, you always call them Miss whatever to respect your teacher. Yeah. So the parents just continue to call me that too, Miss Jade. So it was just the same. Yeah. So before you know it, I'm Miss Jade. I didn't make up that name, but it made sense too from where I was from.
Yeah.
So that's what that is.
Oh, wow. So I like the fact that, you know how I always says, we don't just go through things for nothing. We go through things for something. Yeah. You went through what you went through, and Mr. A, told you that, you should teach kids.
That's right.
Because no one else will understand them like you will.
Right.
And that's what makes you a perfect leader, because you've been through what they're going through. So you know how to address things. Right. That's very powerful.
They need to see somebody like you.
Yeah, like you.
Yes.
You're like, I was there, okay? I was there. I know, however they feel, you know how to speak to them. You know how to, because you've experienced it. There's no one better to learn from that. Someone that has been through the same thing that you're going through. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, for real. Wow. So I still want us to talk some more about this, this dance part of you, because like you said, this is like where you were made. Yeah. And as much as I like to make everything seems easy and all that, I know you went through a lot in that process. Like, tell us what the struggle was like. So if someone listening to you now and say, okay, I want to go into dancing, or I want to start something, what are these things that I need to, go through to become who I am? Because definitely you went through something. We're not going to hide what you went through. If you're ready to, speak about it, I'm ready to listen, so like, what are some of these things? Like, what was your waking up time? Like, how many times did you have to train for this? How many classes did you had to take? What did you read? How did you make yourself become this person?
Definitely, you're there all day long, like at Ballet Ballet. If you're, so the way that it works, a lot of people don't realize this. If you're at let's say legit, but typically the way that it works, you have an adult ballet and you have a youth group, a youth ballet. Yeah. So it's all under one umbrella, but you have two separate, let's just say, departments, right? Yeah. So you're supposed to start young there and matriculate up. Yeah. I was a little different, right? So by the time I met Mr. A, I was already adult, but I was dancing. But it's not like I started as a little girl and matriculated up that way, as is the typical. But that's how it's supposed to work. So you have kind of two different categories. Yeah. Ours was focused on technique. I'm so glad that I came from that background. So some people come from a dance school or dance team, which is more about more of a, we'll just say, kind of dancey, tricky. I was taught more just, again, about solid technique. Yeah. And if you want to do something further with it, depending on what you want to do, that technique, that's the direction that you really want to go into. So it's kind of like two different segments of dancers that parents kind of choose what direction they want their children to go into. Then sometimes parents don't really know. This is a dance program, and they don't really know if it's a technique-based school or if it's a dance team where they go and do different competitions. So it kind of depends on what you think your journey is. Yeah. Do you think your child really wants to be a professional ballerina? Do you want them to one day dance for New York City Ballet or Boston Ballet? Then you better go to a technical school, if that makes sense. Yeah. So what I would say is that it's much better today. Yeah. But being a person of color, that was tough. Not in North Carolina, where I danced with Natalia. That was great. But in Connecticut, that was tough. But all those things make you stronger And then it's just a lot of, well, really, that's how I learned all about posture.
Gotcha.
Just naturally before I was corrected, just the way I stood, just the way I carried my body wasn't correct in regards to posture. But as a result, you really see that in my fitness work. And that's something uniquely that I can give to my clients. But definitely being a brown girl, that was tough. I don't think it's tough everywhere. I will say the director made that tough.
Gotcha.
But you know what? In a lot of ways, I guess it was supposed to happen because it's made me who I am today.
Facts.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So, you know what I mean?
No complaint. At the end of it, it all makes sense.
It does.
It all adds up.
At the end of the day, it does. And I learned a lot of great things from him. I absolutely did. I think from both directions, I got what I needed to take me to the next level. And I appreciate every bit of it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I like that mindset. I like that mindset. Do you you know, there are two types of mindset: a victim and a victor mindset. You know, when you were going through all this that you're going through, did you ever think like you were a victim or a victor?
Just a victor, just because of who I've been raised to be and the mindset.
Yeah.
And I just look at, in the big picture, the stuff I've been through is really small. Really small. Like, we got some stories with people who got some real stuff. This is just life.
But let's not limit you what you went through.
Yeah,
what you went through.
I went through what I went through.
Big shout out to you. You get it, right.
You know, but you're right.
Yeah.
Sometimes, you know, but I always kind of come back to that, right?
To humble yourself.
Yeah, like, you know, it's small. It's just part of growing up.
Yeah.
It just is. Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun. Okay, so let's go back to the book.
Yes.
Why did you write it?
I wrote it because
Yeah.
you can't train everybody. Like, no, you can't.
Yeah.
It's a guide.
Yeah.
So important. The mindset was it was going to be something small, portable, you can take with you. And it's starting to change your mind. And it is addressing not just the physical self, but the whole self. So it's guidance throughout your process for people who desire to really make a healthy lifestyle change, but didn't know where to start.
Gotcha.
That goes with you.
Gotcha. So from this 5, you know, 5 traits, which of them do you think matter the most? Or you know,
question.
Which one would you put as number 1?
Actually, I don't believe it. Okay, that's a good question. In my personal belief, it's always going to be spirit, right?
Yeah.
That's why it's spirit, thought, feel, on purpose. I put that first.
Spirit, okay.
However, all of them are important and equally are interwoven together. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If one is off, it's gonna affect the other. It just is. So it all interconnects. It's all important. Yeah.
Gotcha.
But you're right. Since I am the author of the book, there is a reason why spirit is first. Yes.
Yeah, I believe you.
Yeah.
I believe you. And then the next one was thoughts.
Thought.
What is it about? Like, is that what we think about ourselves, or
Totally.
what we think about life? Because my last episode that I dropped last week, I said it's called "Stop Listening to Yourself and Start Talking to Yourself." And by listening to yourself, I was talking about the thoughts that we have in our mind about ourselves. You get me, right?
Oh, totally. I do.
Those negative thoughts we tell ourselves.
Yeah.
And all that. So how do you think thoughts help with fitness and wellness? How do they relate?
They connect with things or how you achieve things in life, right? If you mentally already said, I can't do it, then you probably won't.
Facts.
So thought is different levels. And actually in the book, there are some exercises in there that you can do. And I talk about the little P and the big P. The little P is that pity party. Oh, it's me. I'm the only person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you decide where you decide where you're going to be in that thought process. And a lot of times people don't recognize their mindset. So I've helped people lose 75 pounds.
Yeah.
But they still feel mentally the same as who they were in the beginning, right?
Yeah.
Because they didn't realize how important that internal, the thought process is. So that's why all of this is really important.
Yeah.
And that's why you have to do it for you, not for someone else.
Yeah.
This whole process of really being your best self. A lot of people go on the fitness journey for someone else. That's already a problem.
Explain that. You said a lot of people go into the fitness journey for someone else.
For someone else. And I will speak and I will talk about women in general. Of course, this is not true for all women, right? But sometimes women lose weight to satisfy, or they feel like they're satisfying what someone else in their life would prefer, wants. Absolutely. But this is a challenge, or this is a wellness journey that's between you and you. And what will happen, let's say if you're trying to lose weight, we know everybody's not trying to lose weight. Some people are trying to build muscle, blah, blah, blah. But if you're trying to lose weight, let it be for you. And ultimately, when you do drop a lot of weight, you'll have people say, oh, you look sick. You don't. So you need to be good with wherever you go in the process, because you do look different from before. But if it wasn't because this is what you wanted to do, then you say, I'm going to stop this process because everybody else is saying this. Well, you start the process because everybody else was saying that too. You need to figure out your own voice and mindset.
Facts. I wish everyone could hear this like right now. What you just said right here is mind blowing, and that is what makes people don't last. You know, because they're confused. Someone wants me to look this way, and I want to look this guy wants this way. And when you were skinny, someone told you. When you were overweight, someone said you're too fat. You know, so you're like, okay, let me go skinny. And now you go to the skinny one, and someone else is like, damn, you look skinny. Are you sick?
You're sick, right?
Because none of it is from you.
That's
correct. It's not what you want. But if it's something that you want, they say you look skinny, you're like, yep, this is what I want. Thank you for saying that.
That's right. Yeah, I'm good with that.
I'm good with that.
This is my goal.
This is my goal, you know. But once you do it for someone else, it doesn't last, because
it doesn't last.
You just
because it was for somebody else.
It was for someone else.
Yeah,
that's very powerful. I wish everyone else could hear this conversation right now, because it would change the way, you know, a lot of people probably go to even do things in life, not just the gym, you know.
Not at all. All these things apply to other things.
Yeah. Oh, wow. And then you talked about relaxation. So we live in a world where I don't think the world believes in relaxation anymore. Everyone is just going. You get right? No rest days, you know, always on the grind.
That's an American thing, particularly. We like go.
And in that moment, we just miss out on the little things, you know. So like, why relaxation? What you know, why do we have to relax? What makes relaxation so important in our lifestyle? We need to do it when we can just be going and chasing every single time.
We need to rejuvenate our mind, body. And sometimes you just need to pause to be able to do it. And this is the thing, no matter who you are, this includes myself in writing this book. It's not about, and I talk about that at the end of the book, you're not going to come to this perfect place. There are going to be times that, I'm hitting this, I'm taking time for myself, I'm doing this. And then there are going to be times that you fall off in different areas. That's life. The point of the book is to bring awareness to the importance of these elements and to let you know that you're always striving for that balance. But you're not going to stay in this because you're a human being, right?
Yep.
And there are going to be seasons in your life you need to go. You know, obviously, with this next venture in my life and having the brick and mortar Fit for Life movement, that's a go season.
Gotcha.
The issue is when you stay in the go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because anytime you start something new or the next phase of something, it's going to require a little bit more. But you got to figure it out. A new job, right?
Yep.
Starting school, whatever it is. The issue, you know, you talk to people definitely on their fitness journeys. They'll say, I was doing good. I got this new job. Because, I fell off. Because it was a significant new job. And that's a great thing. But somewhere in that process, and don't get me wrong, give yourself the space. You probably will need a couple months to settle into that position. It doesn't have to be perfect. If you were working out before, it's okay that things change with this new thing that you're doing in your life. The issue is if you never make the necessary adjustments.
Gotcha.
But you're not going to make the adjustment the first week. You just started this job. You're just learning.
Yep.
Be kind to yourself. Give yourself a little bit. This is reasonable. Because I got to kind of get into the flow. So that doesn't mean you don't work out at all. You may not the first week. Don't get me wrong. And you're going to find you're not working out as much from that point. But then give yourself a time limit. By this point, I'm going to be back into my routine. And don't hold yourself to the routine that it was before to what's going to work. Remember, it has to fit your lifestyle. Or you'll never, before I could do 6 days a week. But now you got like a big position. Exactly.
So the moment you're not able to do that 6 days, you feel bad. And
you feel bad.
And then you start to, you know, but like the word here has been honest with yourself.
Being honest
where
with yourself.
You've said that like a million times, you know, like be realistic with yourself. Where are you right now? What can you do? And just be grateful for that.
Absolutely.
There are days in my life where I used to work out twice a day when I had the time. Now I don't even work out. Some days I don't even work out.
I get
but
it.
do you think I'm gonna kill myself? No, I understand that this is where I'm at right now. It's not gonna last forever.
Right.
But I'm just gonna enjoy this moment. Because the next moment is gonna come and it might be me working out twice again or me not working out. But you know, it's all about just being in that moment, enjoying it, and knowing that it's not gonna last forever.
Because guess what? Even though you have your own personal wellness goals, let's just say that you decided to go back to school. Your professor doesn't care about that. Do you want to get an A or get good grades? You're going to have to say, you know what? I'm going to not go to the gym today. I got an exam come up. And I'll find some little bit in between. And if I didn't make it this week, it was worth it for the grade. I'll get back with it the next. That's called adulthood.
I like that.
Don't go to this thing of feeling guilty. That's what that little negative voice does. And then you just give up.
Yeah, you just give up. Yeah. It's like, well, you didn't go to the day. You should. Wow. Yeah. I wish everyone could just, you know.
And now let me say this too. And I think trainers, we can be guilty. It's really easy to overtrain.
Yeah, it's very easy.
Very easy to overtrain.
Yeah.
So make sure we all have to kind of check ourselves to find that balance. And that changes depending on your goals. Yep. And like you said, season of life. Right now, you need to do this. And if you're going to do that well, or it's just like this podcast, right?
Yeah.
You have a great podcast, but that means you have to do this. You could be somewhere else, but you're not gonna have a great podcast. You gotta you could go to the gym right now, or are you gonna develop this podcast?
Yeah,
that's all I'm saying.
That's
it.
For real.
That's real.
And just having that mindset would change you. Like, I'm here. I could be in the gym like you talked about, but I know I have to build this guy. You know, the gym is already kind of stable.
No, absolutely. You have a foundation.
I have a foundation there, and I can always, do it, whenever I can.
Right.
But this night is a baby that I need to build.
You got to build the foundation.
Yeah.
And a lot of people think this is easy. It's not easy, and it takes consistency. People don't get 1 million people listening from just showing up doing a podcast. Sometimes. It's just the truth.
It's just about everything in life. You know, it's not
everything.
This can be a sometimes thing. This can it has to be something that is more intentional and on a daily grind. That's how you That's how you prove to the world that, I don't feel bad if my podcast don't get enough views. I tell myself, maybe I'm not doing the work that needs to be done, and I can compare myself to someone else like maybe Joe, who is like, who has everything to make his podcast go. He's putting the time, the work, and all that. And I'm here. Fitness is. I have clients to train. I have this to do. I have this to do. Adulthood. So I'm good with whatever result that I get from this.
Absolutely. And it's a process. It doesn't happen. Don't get me wrong. I think we compare ourselves to that 1 or 2 people that overnight. But the truth is, if you talk to those people, it was such a process. It just seems overnight.
Yeah.
But it wasn't.
Yeah. We only see the end process.
That's right. That's all we see.
We never scroll down
to
the bottom of the Instagram page and see that, oh shit, this is not where I am. If they can do it, I can do it too,
Absolutely.
We only look at the top and just say, oh my God, this guy is so lucky. I wish I could.
But it didn't happen like that.
It didn't happen like that. Great job. So how did you end up becoming a personal trainer? So you are the, wellness director at YMCA. Mm-hmm. At what point did you make up your mind and say, you know what, I want to be a trainer? And how was the process like?
I wasn't going to be a wellness director and not have that experience as a personal trainer certification, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So that really kind of solidified that was important for me. A wellness director does a lot, which brings to a bigger point. So a lot of people didn't know. It depends on kind of what level you know me as, right?
Yeah.
If you know me from Connecticut, I was a dancer. I was known for dance teacher and a wellness director. But if you met me here, you didn't know that dance part because it was all about fitness and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So with me taking this next step with my business, people don't understand that as a wellness director, you're managing $1 million budget. So that was God was teaching me. It wasn't like, okay, I'm just going to have this business. I had the experience managing money and budgets, the financial part of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now I had taken a break from that, just kind of being a trainer. I wasn't dealing with a big budget, but those years of experience, I do have a concept and understanding of that. I didn't just jump from here to that, to the other thing. A lot of people don't realize that. A lot of times we want to work for ourselves, and not that you shouldn't. But it's always a level of learning the craft of something, whatever that is. If you work for, let's say you went to school to be a lawyer. Typically, you'll work in a law firm and then you'll make a decision. Is this something I want to do for myself? So the point is, it is important to work underneath someone or to just take the time, whether you're going to school and you're learning your craft, you need to learn the craft, and that takes time and experience before you jump over to other things. Now you can, but you might lose a lot of money and time in the process if only you did that work to understand that business. So most people, again, they don't know kind of the backside or backstory of me, of that I actually worked on the business end of wellness. So kind of bringing back to what you're saying, first of all, personal training was supposed to be, guys, something I did on the side. When I was in Connecticut, I did that part-time. I wasn't trying to be a full-time. No, that was just a side thing. I like being in corporate America. I liked that. And the different things that are offered. However, that matriculated in a whole different direction. But I didn't seek after that. Not at all. That's why I know I'm purposed to do this. I never desired to be in wellness, and these opportunities kind of connected. Before I was a wellness director, I was a wellness coordinator for like a community health center. And again, I didn't know anything about wellness. So like these little, what is wellness? What's that about? And there's different segments of it. It's not just the fitness. It's on the insurance side. There's like a lot of different aspects of wellness, dealing with your well-being. So all of these things brought me to that. But definitely as a wellness director, it was important if I had personal trainers underneath me, because I had at least probably like 30 people that were underneath me, and personal trainers were one of them. I wanted to understand their role, and then I started doing that on the side. But that was all that was supposed to be. Wow. Now look at that now. Right.
Ain't God amazing? How we go through things in life and we just think it's a waste.
Right.
We're just like, what are we doing here? But we don't know that everything is all just gonna.
Right, that it's connecting to someone else.
Like, it's for a bigger purpose. Like,
we're
here and we're just wondering, like, why are we doing this? Why? But we're not looking. If we really know where we're going, where. I saw this post or a meme on Instagram that says, if God showed us the end result or something, we'll be, like, mind blown. But sometimes just because we're in that process, we just keep asking why, but we don't know the final result. That and until we get to that point, it's never gonna make sense.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's interesting to add to that. Sometimes you don't know, and I've learned the importance of silence. So I was the wellness director in Connecticut. I came to Boston to take another position to be the wellness, the operations director. I want to do something different, and I did that for a while. I'm at the YMCA. I was there for like no time. But again, I thought in my little finite mind, I was here for that. But really that was just God getting me here. It wasn't even about that. That position was not the right fit for me. And then what did I fall back on? Oh, personal training. Because someone asked, well, you in a... Oh, yeah. And then as I was looking for other positions in the corporate area, everything that kept coming my way is the personal training stuff. So I said, okay, let me just, because that's what's, you apply for stuff over and over again. And that's just a process, right? So be encouraged to anybody that's going through the whole job thing, because that's a lot. Preparing for an interview. I was going through that process, but the doors that were opening was the personal training. So then that's what I ended up doing. But that wasn't my plan. It was always God's plan. That's what that's about. And, people ask me, well, Jade, listen, if you ask me, I'm going to tell you the truth. And that is my perspective. That is my belief. I know for other people, they feel like, oh, you just worked hard. It's by God's design. But that's just the way I talk. That's the way I believe. So I'm going to share it to others that way.
Yeah, that's dope. You talked about, you said it, but you didn't talk about it. The importance of silence.
No, you're right.
What do you mean by that?
Because at that time, I'm like, wait a minute. I moved to Boston.
Yeah.
I was excited about this position. It didn't work out. I didn't question God. I was just quiet. Sometimes you get to a point you just need to be quiet. That job didn't work out. I'm in Boston. God,
why?
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so I was just silent.
Yeah.
I just was. So in other words, I have learned God will shut you up. And I was zipped. I didn't, you know what I mean?
Wow.
That was a tough moment. Fast forward to today, right? But if that position hadn't worked out, I would have never written my book.
Wow.
And, I had years ago wrote a list of things that I wanted to accomplish. And I don't know how deep I really knew, but I had on there to write a book and a lot of other things, right?
Yeah.
But God made space for that. So I would encourage anyone who's a believer in prayer, God didn't forget. It wasn't the time. So it's about a timing for everything to come into being.
Yeah.
God didn't forget about that prayer in 2:15. I know you think that, but the timing. And he has to prepare. You're not ready.
You're not ready.
For what you think.
Yeah. Honestly, I agree with you. I've been shut up too, man.
Yeah, I'll
just keep quiet and just let you do. Just let you do your thing. Okay. Yeah. So you talk about timing. There's, if we take it back to how you started. You started dancing late.
Yeah.
Do you ever believe you're late? Like, even you just started your own studio right now.
Yeah.
You think it's late? Do you believe in the word lateness, or you believe in timing? Like, it's God's time. Do you? Because someone's out there listening to this and they feel like they're late. I should have done this.
Right.
It's not happening.
Yeah.
What's happening?
Yeah. Let me speak to that.
Yeah.
It's individual. It's specific to that person. Whether it's marriage, you hear a lot of women get on that. I'm not married yet. I don't have children yet. We do that to ourselves, whether it's the culture that we're in. But the truth is, again, you're not ready for that. So I'm sure you've heard this before. Delayed does not mean denied.
Denied, yeah. Yeah, I've heard that.
You know what I mean? But it's really true. And also, it's okay to come into different things when you come into them. Think about the people who were child stars. Not everybody.
Not everybody, yeah.
But most of them didn't come out well. They just needed to be a child. You know what I mean?
Moment.
At that moment. They just needed
it.
And then later to come into that.
Yeah,
so very few people do well get into things early like that. It takes the right parents to direct you, to help you in the process. So, just put more energy into what you feel purpose to do, and not about the fact that you're not doing it. But we're human beings, so we do go through this. I go through that, whatever it is in my life. Oh man, I'm late on this, I'm late on that.
Yeah.
But try to be a little looser with that, for sure.
So before you opened your studio, I know you definitely would have heard people say, "Hey, Jade, get your own space. Like, even before now, how do you handle things like that when you hear conversations like that saying, "Hey, Jade, you should get your own place," because you were working at Mike's and you worked there for a long period of time, and even you had the knowledge even at that point to open your own space, and you had even the resources, I guess, to open your own space, but you didn't till now. How do you handle those people that try to push you to do something that it's not yet?
I didn't always want that.
Okay.
Again, I think wellness is just something I'm supposed to do, but I never necessarily wanted that always. And then I thought about it and kind of went back and forth on it. So that's why I think it's another good reason to do the work, to just take the time to learn, and then ultimately you'll make a decision if you want to continue on that track.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you'll do it and realize, you know what, actually I want to do that instead of what I think I'm doing, right?
Yeah.
But also, people knew me in Connecticut for wellness without a shadow of a doubt. But everybody had to get to know me here.
Yeah.
That's the thing about personal training. You know that you have to get your name out there. You have to do the work. You don't come somewhere else and then you got to build that up.
Yeah, you gotta
it
build it
doesn't
up.
matter. Okay, that's great in Connecticut, but Connecticut is not Massachusetts. So in that sense, but again, remember when I first came here, I wasn't trying to do that. And then when I said, okay, this is what I'm doing because this is what's coming my way, then you have to rebuild yourself up to that. And then in that process, you'll find out, well, is this what I want to do? There's so many different areas of wellness. Don't limit yourself to just one perspective.
Yeah.
And really, I like to do this part of it. You know what I mean? Yeah. So.
Oh, wow. That's nice. Yeah. Okay. So let's go into, the Fit4life studio.
Yeah.
How did you end up here?
Having a studio, oh boy. It was just, it was time, right? It was time. I think in any industry you're in, you'll come to a point, okay, what am I gonna, what do I want to do? Am I staying here in this lane and in wellness? And I just put too much time into it not to.
Gotcha.
Okay. In not to stay in wellness, right? I've developed too much from that. But then it was about deciding what I wanted to do. And it organically just kind of came together that the season and the timing was right for me to do that. So it can't be about the timing of your best friend and you see them going out into blah, 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 or somebody on social media.
Yeah.
It really needs just to be organically when the timing is right for you. And you don't want to put time and resources into something that you regret later. How many people go to school for something and then they find out that's not what I want to do and they're miserable? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong. School is really important. I went to school. And the great thing about getting your education, you can transfer it over to something else.
True.
So maybe you don't want to continue on that pathway, but you still have a bachelor's, you still have a grad degree, and that's going to translate and get you to that interview. But my point is, make sure where you put your time and energy that's what you really want to do. Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. So what's the purpose for Fit4life Studio?
It's a safe space. It's an environment where people who are like-minded, people are at all different fitness levels, all different body types, but the mindset is the same. They desire to be healthier and whole. So that is the connector. And the Fit4life movement, having a physical place just gives you that safe space to come. And what people, I think, get confused, but it's no different than any industry. You can't have one dentist. You can't have one general doctor, one electrician. You need a lot of us. Okay? And people are going to be attracted to different people for different things. It could be just because I'm a female.
True.
Because you're a guy.
Yeah.
Because you're focused in this, where you're from. A lot of different. People should have options.
Yeah.
And there is a huge need, specifically in America. People need the support to be well. Again, could you imagine there was only one grocery store? There was only one.
I know.
That doesn't even make sense.
That doesn't even make
and
sense,
sometimes I think we forget about that when it comes to that whole personal training. You need several different people, different personalities. There's more than enough.
Your style
people
of
who
training
need
is
help.
different from mine.
That's right. That's
So
normal.
next
It's supposed to be different.
the
You're your own.
next person. Yeah.
Right. So then you have an option as the consumer to go where you feel that you're led. And that's the way it's supposed to work.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yep. Because when I read, was looking into your own style of training, I discovered that you weren't just training from one point of view. Like, you weren't just trying to do exercise.
That's correct.
You covered a lot of sections.
That's right. I feel like just part of my development and experience enables me certainly to do that. So a lot of people don't know that I'm actually in school.
Right now?
To be a registered dietitian.
Oh, that's
I'm
cool.
not. So this is the thing about me.
Yeah.
In my personality, I'm not an announcer. That's something people really need to understand about me. Meaning, I don't announce something. I do something. And then once I do it, so the nutrition coach, that comes from being a certified coach, and also I'm in school to be a registered dietitian. Does that make sense?
Makes a lot of
so
sense.
everything that I do, I have the experience to do it. So that's the reason why I'm able to do that. And in my studies and observation, I understood the importance of the focus on the 5. And like I said, uniquely, you have connected with some things that are relevant. And so people are going to connect with you on those things. A lot of times we try to grab other people's things, but that's not it. God has something unique for you that you can speak to and utilize what you've been purposed to do that. Does that make sense?
A lot of sense. A lot of sense. So what made you, still want to go back to school and study to be a registered dietitian?
It's important for me just to dot every I and dot every T. For me.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's important for me.
No, I believe that. Like that's why you're fit for life, yo. Well rounded.
Thank you.
You talk about motivation and as part of your, and I was gonna ask you like how does motivation relate to fitness and wellness?
You have to be motivated because it really is about consistency, right? You have to be motivated to do that, to move your body. For some people, it comes a little bit more natural. For us, that's why we're able to share it with others, to coach people, right? But nobody is knowledgeable and stays motivated in every area. So maybe this is kind of our sweet spot, but there are things in our lives that we need help. Help me with my taxes. That's not, whatever it is. Everybody needs a professional in different areas.
100%.
I think we've kind of taken the do-it-yourself thing a little too far.
Yeah.
Some things absolutely save money. Other things, can you get somebody else to do your hair, please? And pay them for their craft. Now, that might be your sweet spot. You enjoy, you have that creativity. But I'm just using that as an example that use other people and what they do well. Use their services. You're blessing them. They're blessing you. You're not supposed to be able to do everything. But guess what? When you do that, there's no self-care. There's no rest.
Gotcha.
And for me, that's really important. With all the things that I do, I had to let some things go. And I've definitely let some things go. And I pay for those things because guess what? I can't be doing all of that. And I'm supposed to be doing this other stuff. You'll get burnt out. So figure out for you what things to let go. What doesn't work well is when you do things and don't find, remember the balance. You're not letting anything go. You're holding tight. So you're not going to have that balance. You have to let some things go.
I understand.
Yeah.
I feel you. Are you the type that, double up on your strength or work on your weakness?
Say that again?
Are you the type that would double up on your strength or you would just, improve your weaknesses?
I would improve my weaknesses.
Gotcha. Why?
I don't think I need to know everything. I think being smart, you learn again where other people's strengths are and you utilize that. And that helps. However, I do need a level of knowledge. Level of knowledge doesn't mean that I need to go to school for that. But if I realize, this is really a handicap for me, let's become a little bit more knowledgeable. Does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Like,
don't waste your time.
Don't waste your time.
Come on now. You need some basics.
Just
Come
basic,
on.
yeah.
It's just like cooking. You don't need to be a chef.
Yeah.
But now you can go right online.
And
you need to be able to cook some stuff.
You need to be able to boil water at least, yeah.
Exactly. If not, you're going to be broke.
If not, you're going to be broke.
Because nobody's at the celebrity level. So you better know how to
yeah,
cook something.
Yeah.
Totally.
That's right. I agree with you on that too. Work on your weaknesses. That's great. Okay, so what are the core values of Fit for Life?
Core values is all about community.
Gotcha.
What I really value about what I do, I work with people from all different plethoras, all different communities, Black, white, Asian, gay, in between. To me, that's so important to me. And I think for me, the blessing is if I would have stayed in North Carolina, then I would have been in my little comfort zone. But moving up north, I was able to meet people who were not like me with the same kind of cultural influences.
Yeah.
Just like if you live up here, move somewhere else. I'm not saying that you need to move to North Carolina, but at least travel other places. I think, in the big picture, the reason we have this tug of war between north, south, east, west is because we don't just allow ourselves to travel and get to know other people. And I feel like if I was ever a politician, I would do pretty well because I have a good sense of what the South is about, of what the North is about, what's good, and having an in-between.
Yeah.
But if you always stay in your little cocoon,
Yeah.
you just don't understand that other group at all, if that makes sense.
Make a lot of sense.
So it's really been a blessing for me to be outside of... I'm so thankful where I was born and raised.
Yep.
And I think everybody should be. But I'm also thankful to have ventured out. And as a result of that, I'm able to draw all sorts of people. And I feel like I can be authentically me and they can be them. You can believe in Christ. You don't have to believe in Christ. But we all connect when it comes to wellness. And you don't feel any kind of way.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it all still boils back to, you saying that you work on your weaknesses. And that's like, when you talked about if you're a politician, you would do well because you're not just staying in one place. You've been to all these areas.
Yeah, to get to
And
know the people, to understand the culture.
So you know how to communicate with them, speak to them.
Yeah, and
you know where they're coming from. You get
totally.
And with your clientele too, you've worked with all of these people, so you know how to, hey, I've seen someone with a similar story.
Absolutely.
I know how to deal. I know what to say to you. I know how to speak to you. I'm not just gonna, just say one thing. Don't be this, But no, you can be. It's okay. I understand. That's who you are. That's what you.
Totally.
Let's just try to work with that and see how we can help you achieve your goals. I think that's the kind of mindset every not just trainer, everybody in that leadership role should
be able to work with.
Yeah, that flexible
people.
mindset to work with different people, not just stay rigid to what you believe in.
Yeah.
And just,
And don't get me wrong, sometimes as a leader, you have to make choices. For my business, I make some choices, right? And it's up to me to do that. But like you said, being able to be tangible to others, to listen, to be personable, those things are important. And everybody has niches.
Yes.
So know and that's part of your experience, know what your niche audience is.
Gotcha.
Your niche audience doesn't have to be the mainstream, but just get your niche audience and develop that up, whatever that is. And there is an audience for you, everybody. There is I'm just making an example. If you say I'm an awkward kind of person, there are plenty of people who are awkward who want to hear from somebody just like them.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so don't be like, I need to be this way.
Be this way too.
People connect like with this show. Oh, he's like me. Yeah, blah blah blah. They're going for who you are. You don't have to add anything to that. And I think that's what's kind of happened with social media. What I hope is that what people see in meeting me, not if you've never met me, but when you meet me, you're like, oh, she is who she said she is. That's important to me versus I am perpetrating this thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the difference. And now social media is kind of 50-50. You have people, this is just who they are, and then people who do this whole thing.
Yeah.
And that's not who they are at all.
At all. No, I agree with you. As a trainer or as a leader, you have to be able to practice what you preach.
Yes.
Or preach what you practice.
Yes.
You just can't tell someone to do a sit-up when you've never done a sit-up before.
Absolutely.
You can make someone do something that you have never done before, and that's what I think makes people unique.
Yeah. And I will say this, and this will be kind of a conversation amongst, I guess, trainers.
Yeah.
I never wanted to be that trainer that, like you just said, told you something and you don't live it. First of all, it's almost like being a model, and hopefully you guys can follow me when I say that. When you see a professional model, they exude that. If I'm a trainer, you should know it.
Yeah.
I don't even have to tell you.
Tell you.
You're going to say, what do you, blah, 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 blah. And that's going to open the conversation. So I never want to get to that point that you didn't catch that in me, that I'm telling you to do something that clearly I'm not doing.
Yeah.
But a lot of people feel different from that.
Yeah.
But for me personally,
yeah,
the things that I ask you to do, I do them, have done them, or whatever, will do that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's not about perfection, but it's not something that, I used to do that, and now I don't. I just think I don't think that works, at least not for me. It needs to be like in alignment with that.
Yeah, that makes sense. You spoke about your niche. This is my next question. What makes you different from, what makes Jade, Fit for Life different from the rest of the trainers out there? What are you bringing to the table that, completely just different?
I just try to bring my authentic self.
Yeah.
That's all you can really do. There are millions of trainers. And the difference today, right?
Yeah.
Than 15 years ago, your competition, and I don't mean this in a negative way, right?
Yeah.
Your competition is no longer local. It's not about me and you. It's about me and you, California. They're on. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Before you had like celebrity trainers. You had Jillian.
Yeah.
You had. We can go through different names of celebrity trainers.
But now.
Yeah, and they were in the whole league of their own. Not anymore. They're competing against that influencer. Just like everybody. So you know what I'm saying? It's you're not limited by, or you just need to know who's in your area. No, you don't. And you can't know globally, but just understand it's way bigger.
Damn.
People now have apps. They're going through all of that direction. They may not never physically see their trainer. And I think that's a great option.
Yeah.
It's just the point that it's not about who's in your neighborhood. And at one point, it was about who's in your community. These are the people who are known for this. And if you are a dentist, it still comes down to who's in your community, because you have to physically go in to get your teeth clean. It's not like that with a personal trainer. There's so many options. So, people say, you know what, I'd rather not have anybody physical. I'm just going to pay for these apps, and that's it.
Yeah.
So it's a blessing, right? There's some pros and cons with it.
Yeah.
So that's what it really comes down to. Who connects with you being your aunt. And there's always going to be I'm just so unique. There's always somebody like you, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The people that I follow are people that, because everybody follows somebody. You're not Beyonce, who only has one person they follow. Everybody follows somebody, and likewise, you're gonna follow other trainers that you feel a respect for. Right, like I really respect their work. I'm gonna follow them, right?
Yeah.
So with that being said, we're all kind of learning and sharing from one another. And what we all know in exercise, nobody creates exercise. Nobody creates the squat. It's almost impossible to create an exercise. You just don't know nobody that does it.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's all.
And it's just the way you uniquely thread it together. Yeah. But that's exercise. That's the way exercise. So you can't. You copied me.
No,
doesn't everybody do a chest press? That is a common. But you're gonna have a certain way that you kind of. Yeah. That's just how this industry goes. That it's very seldom. Very seldom that something is. And still somebody probably did it,
but you
at
just
that
didn't
time,
recognize it.
Right.
There was no social media to put it up, or they didn't have the opportunity to show the wall.
That's it.
You did it just, I get what you're saying. But
pretty much, you're using these common tools.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense. So how long has this been in the making, Fit for Life Studio? Like, did you just come up with the idea this year, or you've been planning and then slowly just walking towards it?
What I was doing, I wasn't planning towards, how can I say this? The development of Fit for Life, I've been working on for years, not the actual brick and mortar.
Yeah.
I didn't always know that I wanted a brick and mortar. If that makes sense.
You were just making the brand.
Yes, and what it was, and the keys to what it was.
Yeah.
Remember, my book came first. So just the development of that, it was so organic. You know what I mean? So this is way back when I was a wellness director. I was working on this. But the truth is, that is my nature. I'm always working on something.
Gotcha.
That's just the nature of who I am. So it's like the pieces just kind of as they're supposed to.
Yeah. So you, because I won't lie to you, I have seen you, you know, for me, like, you've gained your name. You get me right. Like, wherever you are, you deserve to be here because you've done almost everything a trainer can do. You've thought outside the box. You've taken your clients to outside. You guys have trained with zero equipment. You know, you've gone in and out of it all. Like, you get right. Like, you've really worked with people, and this is not just what you say, this is what you have done. You get right?
Yeah, I do.
And in all those years, this is what you were building.
Yes.
You know, Fit4life.
It's just kind of,
It's not the gym. You don't need the gym to be fit for life. You can do it outside.
Yep.
You know, you talk about food on your Instagram. You advise people that, you know, you don't have to, you know, you can go this way. You talk about, you know, mindset, you know, like you had things that like went with days, like, you know, mindset Mondays. You know, like you were picking all these areas, you know, the fuel, the spirit, you know, relaxation. Sometimes you just posted something about relaxing. You know, like
it was really connecting to something.
It was all just making sense. I mean, this is your life.
Yes.
No one can take that away from. Like, no one's gonna argue with you and say, Jade, you are not fit for life. No. If we look at your lifestyle, the 24 hours, this is what you portray every single day. So it's really amazing. Now.
Thank you.
Really
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, what are some of the, you know, probably my last question, but like, what are some of the challenges that you've faced, you know, to get to where you are? So just in case someone else is listening to you, you know, this podcast, and they're going through the same thing, you know, they will feel like I'm not alone. Like, you know, what are some of these challenges that you've been through, you know, before getting to this place you are?
I feel like I'm certainly still on my journey. You know, this is still my infancy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you look at other people that inspire you in different areas. Like you said, really, this whole conversation has nothing to do specific to just fitness. We can apply this to every area of life. Whether it's Denzel Washington, you know, he does these great speeches, and he talked about where he started. Like, listen, everybody started somewhere, no matter. And again, I know it seems like, oh, it just kind of happened, that kind of thing, but it never really did. So I get inspiration from just people in life.
Gotcha.
Not necessarily a celebrity, but that's easy access, right? It is. And it's easy when you see these different people and you're like, wow, and you hear their story. And think about it, if you don't have challenges in your life, that's pretty boring.
It is boring.
Your life really is a movie, right? And then you have something worth telling or sharing with others that they're going to want to listen to for sure.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. Yeah. So any, you know, being this trainer you are, you know, anything that you want to say, oh, I struggled with this, you know, maybe even, you know, for training your first client, how was that like, you know, like when you finally became a trainer, like, you know, designing programs and, you know, like how did you manage all of that, you know?
Yeah. You know, for me, I think it's because it's been such a gradual thing. I never was trying to do something all at once because it wasn't by design. I am not the person that wanted to be a trainer. Like, that wasn't on my list. I want to be a personal trainer. Like, I wasn't even thinking that way. So I was kind of gaining the things that I slowly without even realizing, or it was no pressure, you know. So my first client, obviously, is a new experience when you're training a client, but I didn't have that pressure because that's not the only thing I was doing. So it wasn't like, oh, if I don't get this down, does that make sense?
It makes sense.
So I took
that's
my
why I'm laughing.
Versus for some people, they know that's what they want to do.
We have to nail this, you know.
Right, like, but that wasn't my story. You know, some people have said to me, well, were you like a big kid? Sorry, that wasn't my story. I can only tell you what was. You know what I mean? And again, I was active without knowing what that was. And then as an adult, it's like, Jay, you were athletic. You were, but I just like to do these things. And I was active without really, you know what I mean? So, So it's always difficult. I would definitely say, as a woman, one of the things I would get, and people didn't realize it, even women would do it. They'll come up to me and say, who is your trainer? And, you know, it's like the country girl in me, because I see myself as a little country girl from Fanny Brown Road. That's where I'm from. Girl, I did. But they think a man trained me.
Yeah, bro.
And they don't even mean anything by it. They just assume.
Yeah, they just
so
assume.
In this field, there's still this thing that a guy had to do it. You know, versus, she did that.
She did that.
That's what she does.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, and definitely if there's anybody that's listening to this that's a personal trainer in the local area, I think definitely an area of growth for me. It really is about opportunity. Is to be able to connect with more trainers and have this conversation. Yeah. And sometimes it's not because I have sectioned myself out. We just haven't come into contact. Because think about it, right? If it wasn't for you asking me this, we've never had this
conversation.
And that's my whole...
Yep, and it will never... It's always, hi, Jade, hi, Lucky.
Yep.
Good to see you, good to see you.
Exactly. And it's not personal. You're working out, I'm working out, or whatever.
Yep.
Same thing.
Same thing,
Yeah. And I think, obviously, some of the other trainers that worked at the gym, I was able to have more conversations with them because they worked at the gym with me versus if you're working out at the gym. So I know there's specifically more women trainers and just trainers in general that we should have these conversations more often. But because of the work we do, a lot of times you don't. Just because you're in a lot of ways, you're moving, going along with all your clients' crazy schedules. So you don't get those nice social events like other industries do, right? That is normal. If you are a doctor, they have an at the 5 doctor kind of thing. Personal trainers don't necessarily have that. And again, sometimes there seems to be a disconnect with having that allegiance and that connection and community. For some reason, there's kind of this going on, I feel like, with trainers versus most industries. You come together for these weekends of whatever. You pay for this money and you go, you study, and you're so glad to see your other colleagues.
I know.
We kind of like in these little buckets. And if you know somebody, you know them, or I may not know that trainer personally, there are more people that I know of. But I would love to develop relationships with more trainers. It's not necessarily of me being here. And then with COVID, it didn't help. Everybody was really in their own corners, right? So,
do you think it's a competition thing, or it hasn't just happened yet? Because do you think because I've reached out to a couple of trainers, and I have had the same way I approach on the podcast, the same way I've reached out to other trainers, and some of them have been here, some of them have toned it down and never just showed up. And I don't know, sometimes I feel like, did this guy feel threat or something, or or is it just like I want to be the best, so I don't want to associate with you? Get
Got you. Yeah, I do. Let's be honest. I do think it is unique to training. There is this competitive thing that I do wish that we were like most industries, that it wasn't that way. You know what I mean? If you're a lawyer, they have this whole lawyers thing, and you come together and you want to be part of that. I think it's just kind of the way personal training started. It was about who were the best personal trainers in that area. And that was the way it was kind of birthed, and the way that it is. But now that you realize, listen, everybody's your competition across the globe. Let's let that go. But no, it's true. It's true on different layers. So I get it. And I do think, just going to people of color, because we're people of color, we come from this generation of only one can make it. Finally, things are better. For example, if you watched Good Morning America, the Today Show, it could only be one person of color. It could be an Asian lady. It could be a black lady. But it wasn't...
all of them can make it.
Right. But now you can have that. So I think we're also part of that piece too. And I think we all have to work better on that, to be aware of that. I just think, as a person of color, we did think kind of, was it crabs in the barrel kind of mentality, if you ever heard that before. We just feel like, if you share, or if you just come together, you lose something. And that is specific to training and also our communities.
No, I get you. I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
And we need to, it's all about identifying a problem and solving it. There's a problem now. Trainers need to, not at least in Boston here. Trainers need to get together at some time, share knowledge, share experiences, help someone else that is just starting,
Or just to have social conversation. So because even if somebody never becomes best friends, and we know it's not about that, of that trainer, oh yeah, that's blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Just to kind of know of the different trainers. And there's always less women than men in training of all colors. So it's good to know other trainers, and to always have that respect. I think because we don't have anything like that, sometimes as trainers we may think, oh, that trainer don't like me, but it's not actually that. And I think we've all kind of fell into that at different times, just the way training has been historically.
I like that. Just to be clear, man, I welcome everybody to this podcast. I am willing to meet with trainers, and I guess same with Jade. So if you're a trainer and you're listening to this podcast, okay, let us link up and have our own association, have our own, which is cool, have our own nights, and maybe go camping or something,
something trainers, just to build relations about. It's not even about nobody stealing trade secrets and all this kind of stuff. But I think we've all kind of fell in that, so that's a place that we could do better, right?
100%. I like that. I'll put on my to-do list. Maybe someday have like a place where trainers can all just
hang out. Blah, blah, like any other industry. That's where the police officers go after work. But we don't have that. It's like, why are you trying to get to know me? What's that? That's what it is.
Oh wow. And also, it's also that mindset of you're a trainer. You shouldn't be hanging out like social life. You should be just eating white rice and chicken. And just staying that. No. We need to.
You gotta be normal and
normal. We're normal people.
We are, and trainers get that, right? But you're right. Outside people definitely think that. But if you're living your life in balance, unless you have a competition coming up, I understand that. But you should be able to eat regular food in balance, and it's not this thing. What's she eating? What's going on with that? We should get that piece for sure.
For sure. Oh wow. Okay, so. What's your advice for, someone listening to this podcast right now, has a similar story like you, going through the same thing? What's your advice for someone out there?
Keep going. That's great advice that I got from one of my friends. Like, that wasn't like mind blowing,
but still.
But it's true.
Yeah, keep going.
Keep going. And when I say keep going, to make sure that you're going for the right things. So for me, like, I'm really clear that this is what I'm purposed to do. I don't suggest for you to keep going on something that's not what you're purposed to do. You're fighting a battle that's not going to be won, because that's not really where you're supposed to be, and you know that, but you're going because maybe other people have told you that. So keep going when you know that this is where you're supposed to be. But allow life to take the journey that it's taking you on, because you may find that it's a different direction in that area. Or you may find you'll get what you're supposed to get from that, but really it's taking you somewhere else. So also try to enjoy the journey. Doesn't mean that you're going to actually physically enjoy every bit of the journey, but it's a life journey. I have wore a lot of different hats, and they are not all fancy. I've worked at a little cookie company. I mean, everything part-time when I was in school. I've worked at a hotel. I mean, I've done a little bit of everything. Because guess what? We're adults. We have to make a living. I've done definitely some of everything when I was like an undergrad student. That's part of life. You know what I mean? So, and at that moment, you definitely don't see anything in that. But you do learn things, and it does build character, and it will get you to the next point. And anybody that's really successful, they started just like you, whether it was at McDonald's, at the mall, or whatever. That was just your starting point, and you learn what you were supposed to learn, whether it was what not to do, how not to treat people, or what you didn't really want to do.
That makes sense. Oh wow, I like that. Guys, you guys have had it. No matter what you're doing, keep going. I mean, it matters what you're doing, okay? As long as you're doing the right thing, right? You feel good about this is what you want to do. Keep going. Don't stop. Don't let anything weigh you down. So, Jade, how can people get your book? How can people reach out to you? Because I definitely want to read the, Focus on the Five. It sounds like an amazing book. And, someone listening now say, oh, I want to read the book. How can people reach out to you, get this book and also work with you?
On Amazon.
Okay.
Listen, people get mad at Amazon.
I love Amazon.
And they can say what they say about him. And I'm not saying that he's... But listen, guys... There are things that you can't even find unless you go on Amazon. That I go to a store and I'm like, it's not here. But if I go to Amazon
is there, boom.
So, same thing with the book. Go on Amazon, put in the title, put in Focus on the Five. You can either put my name, Jade Wilkins, and it will come up and it will be at your home within a couple days. Facts. Amazon way.
Facts. Yeah, okay? Amazon way.
Go to my website, and that's Fit4life Movement. It's the number 4. A lot of people get that confused. Yeah. Fit, the number 4, lifemovement.com, and we can connect in that way. Of course, my social media handles. Yeah. If you specifically kind of want to check me out, it's Miss Jade Fit4life, and that is on whether it's Instagram or you can do the same thing and put in that for Facebook.
Wow. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you so much, Jay.
It's been a pleasure. Yay.
Hey, same here, man. Same here. Hey, guys. Honestly, I had a great time. I hope you guys did. The book is out there on Amazon. Go look for it. Grab a copy. And also, follow on Instagram. Reach out to her. Show love. Support her. We all need it, okay? So, with that said, guys, thank you so much for listening to today's episode. Remain blessed. And don't forget to rate, subscribe, and share with your friend. Bye.